Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Scholars Spotlight. Thanks for joining us. I've got a very, very special guest today. Her name's Sheerin, and she's our first ever female manager. I'm a manager of the female team that is launching next season. So we're really keen to find out the plans about that. Jo, thank you very much for joining me. How are you?
Thanks very much for having me, Reuben. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. Really excited about next season and getting started at Chasetown.
No. Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds. We've not kind of crossed swords before. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the game of football, first of all.
Yeah, so like many sort of young people, I was around sport from an early age, and had older brothers, so they were playing football sort of ahead of me, and I was sort of dragged along, and ended up really falling in love with football myself. So started to play, but there wasn't really much around at that time. Many years ago, this was so. Wasn't really much around for me to start playing, and wasn't till I was 13 that I actually joined a team myself. So I've
Okay.
always played football, and then a bit later on, I was still playing in my 20s, and somebody at the club that I was at asked me to take on one of the junior teams. So I sort of became a coach then at the same time, and over the years I've done my badges through the FA, and I'm currently a UEFA coach, as well as a toddler session, put on toddler sessions around Lichfield and the local community as well. So yeah, that's how I sort of began my footballing career as such.
No, fantastic. And where did you put? What was your position when you played?
So I started out as a, a midfielder, sort of centre midfielder. I like to play in there, but other managers sort of tend to saw me as a centre half, so I sort of went back to there, and eventually, sort of last couple of seasons, started playing in goal actually. So
Right.
played
Okay.
played a bit of everywhere.
So utility, we can stick you anywhere. We can stick you
Well,
anywhere.
wouldn't say anywhere, but I'd try my best anyway. I was put, yeah.
Right. Okay. So talk to us a little bit how the Chasetown opportunity came about. How did they approach you, and how did that kind of come to be?
Yeah. So I was previously in another local club at Lichfield, and things were sort of a bit up and down there. To be honest, I've been the manager of the ladies team over there, and it's sort of come to an end. I decided to leave, and I was having a conversation with Jamie Hawkins. He's part of the men's setup at
Yeah.
Chasetown. Just fleeting conversation really about the renovations and the vast improvements that are going on at Chasetown, saying how amazing everything was going, and looking at the club, and he sort of said, "Oh, it'd be good if we had a women's team." And he said that he knew that that was on the sort of horizon for Chasetown, and would it be worth me sort of getting in touch? So I then spoke to both Ant and Rich at the club, and it sort of escalated from there.
Oh, superb, superb. I mean, it feels to me like it's the final kind of piece in the jigsaw, really, from a club perspective and from a female perspective, because we've got all of these great girls coming through, and there was nowhere for them to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the club themselves recognised that, and they had a women's team as part of their plan. You know, it was part of what they were going to be doing. I think that when I sort of came along and sort of stuck my head above the parapet and said, "I'm here. I'd like to join in," and they sort of things moved a bit quicker than. But it's been really positive having the conversations with Ant and Rich. They're really passionate about having a women's team for the pathway of, like you said, you've got, the young junior teams at girls level, but you haven't got that final piece of the puzzle. And next season we will have that. So it'll be great to develop the under 18s, the current under 18s, and all of the girls. It's good for them to have something to aspire to.
No, absolutely. And I think if we look at it from a holistic point of view and what you've seen in the women's game, what changes have you seen in the last kind of 5, 6 years, really, in the game overall?
Yeah, I just think we as a women's collective has got a massive presence now, and I think that's obviously been evident over the last few years with the success of the women's England team and the Euros and things like that. So, but locally in grassroots, the number of girls playing in mixed teams, not only mixed teams, but then having separate girls teams now, it's been sort of an exponential growth, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we've seen so many new junior teams, and what sort of stands out for me is that, like, harking back to when I was younger, there wasn't that provision. You know, there wasn't a club that would be willing to take me on as an 8, 9, 10-year-old child.
Yeah.
But now you look at what the girls have available to them, and it's brilliant. It's just great. They've got that equal sort of opportunity to go and play, and that's what I'm sort of passionate about, really, making sure that girls do have somewhere locally that they can go and play. And Chasetown are doing everything they can to sort of increase the numbers at the club. And like I said, the women's team is just sort of the cherry on the top, really, because that's where them girls are hopefully going to end up at.
Yeah, it was really interesting actually. I have something to do, not much. It's mainly Pete, but looking at the socials when we announced, the dynamic of the comments that we got on the socials was like way different to usual. So I think it's going to be fantastic for the club, holistically. So it's great to have you involved. Talk us about next season then. So first of all, when we start, so when pre-season starts, and also what's involved. Obviously, you've got to create a brand new team, right? So what's involved in that, and how can we help?
So, firstly, I mean, Chasetown have been amazing. Firstly, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on the podcast today with you, but they've been such a supportive voice in providing the opportunity for me to do what I need to do, and the club to support everything that's happening behind the scenes. So there's lots of people working hard. Obviously, I've met with Jane Dyson at the club, and both Ant and Rich have been massive parts of everything. But it's just been great. In terms of what's happening next, so we have it was only last night actually that these dates are sort of finalised. So we do have some dates now, which are going to be sort of open sessions, which we've already sort of advertised and said the team is being created, and we've had a great response just from that. We've now got some dates in place. We're going to be having 3 open sessions where ladies, your girls over the age of 16 can come along. We'll put on a few sessions for them, and then after that we will sort of establish a bit of a squad. And then we've been affiliated to the league, so all of that's going to happen behind the scenes. So it's a really, really exciting time.
Yeah.
In terms of sort of what you could do actually, Reuben, is just promote us and just continue to sort of support us with our social media announcements, because that's the way that we can obviously interact with our audience and try and get people to these sessions. So.
Oh, absolutely. When's that first session, by the way?
So it's going to be the 2nd of June.
Okay.
So we're doing 2 on a Sunday, and then there'll be a Wednesday evening as well, because I believe that's going to be our training night. So we're trying to put them sort of where they would normally fit, so that people sort of get a gist of this is the commitment that I'm going to be making, sort of thing.
Will that be at the Scholars Ground?
It will be, yes. Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
So, yeah.
So what we'll do off the back of that, we'll obviously put something on the back of this and on our social channels as well. So there'll be an email on there for anybody that's got any questions, etc. So we'll make that really easy for everybody that wants to take part in that. So that's really exciting. Have you got? I know it's all happened very, very quickly, right? But have you got any aspirations for that kind of first season?
Definitely, yeah. I think I've always been sort of an all-in kind of person, sort of very passionate, very committed to the club or the team that I'm at. So I think, yes, it will be our first season, and yes, we'll be sort of compiling a team from scratch, really, a brand new team at Chasetown. There hasn't been a team for many years at Chasetown, so we're gonna hopefully have a good season at what will probably be tier 8. But yeah, I definitely sort of want to go and win that league. I know that we're sort of thinking sort of 5-year plan and stuff, and having that in the back of our mind. But I think me as a player as well, and that player mentality sort of still there for me. definitely want to be trying to put a dent in that league table.
No, that's fantastic. And I think we'll finish on this really. What was it specifically about Chasetown that you identified with and excited you about the opportunity? What were those kind of things that really kind of hooked you in? Because it sounds like you've been in demand.
I think I do think, going back to the word you just used, the aspiration of the club, the men obviously play a very, very good standard, and I think it's sort of trying to marry that up with a women's section, and that you've got the competitive nature of the men that is also instilled into the women's side of things. I think in terms of location, it was important to me to be at a local club. Um, I've lived sort of in Lichfield and Staffordshire for the whole of my life, and I want to promote football in Staffordshire and around Lichfield. So, I think Chasetown's always been a bigger club, and that's one of the reasons that it attracted me in the first place. Since sort of talking to them, though, I think it's really evident that the professionalism of this club really shines through. Everything has been sort of thought out. We've had numerous meetings. The board have, had to sort of accept these ideas, and they've been fantastically supportive as well. So I think the way that the club operates has just been superb.
No, that sounds fantastic, Joe. Thank you very much for your time today. I think we'll leave on the note of that open session, really. So, first open session is 2nd of June at the Scholars Ground. We'll again put details on these channels for anybody that wants to kind of be part of that. Presumably, there's no limits to numbers, right?
No, we will have enough coaches to be able to manage the numbers that walk through the door. We do have an email address, like you said, so people can pop their expressions of interest down. We will have a form generated as well, so just to fill out a few details for us, so that we can contact players if needed.
No, that's brilliant, Joe. And on the men's side as well, we've got a final to look forward to. So we'll hopefully see you there as well. So thanks again for your time, Joe. Welcome to the team. Great to have you.
Thanks very much. It's good to be here.
All right. See you soon. Okay. Thanks everybody.
Bye-bye.